Python coding framework populate list. Now this will auto create a basic add-on by scraping a website. You can essentially write a whole add-on with one line of code. Now that does sound great, but it does have its limitations, but it's a very useful tool nonetheless. So let's have a little look at the code. Right, now what we've got here is, so we're calling our test function here, and what we need to do, this is going to populate a proper list structure in our directory. So once we've set the mode to open whatever we're going to open, we need to make sure in our add directory we've got the folder as true. That's very important. If you don't have the folder as true, it's nothing's going to happen. So it needs to open up into the directory structure. Now in our actual function here, you need a well, let's have a look at the actual code, the main code block, see what it does. So we're calling populate list, and we've got the URL which we've set up as the link variable. So that is calling this page here. This is my example page. It's just an index page of some videos. So that's the page it's going to load up and scrape. And then it's going to traverse through there and scrape other pages as you go through. The start point is, this is what we're looking for in the source code of that page. So what we actually want to find is a link and a name. This is the end point, so that's what we're looking for there. So what that's basically going to do is it's going to grab everything between this and this. It will grab every instance of that, and then the separator we've got as this here. What that does is it will split what it's grabbed into two items. So the left hand side will be the URL that we need to load up, and the right hand side will be the name. So let's just load up the web page so it makes a little bit more sense. So I'm going to load up this page here, and if we right click on that, you can see at the moment it's a very basic just index site. If you've got a more complex looking site, that's fine, but every page that you traverse through must use exactly the same structure for the listings. That's the limitations of this. It's great if you've got some sort of basic index site where you just upload stuff and you want to make an add-on of it. Brilliant, you can do it in one line. If you've got a more complex site with CSS, then you may need to create your own function. But if we inspect this, if we view page source, so this is what Kodi will always pull, is the page source. So this is how Kodi will see it. So what I want here is, so you're looking for unique structures. So these are the two things I want. I want the Python coding, I want that directory there, and I also want the trailers directory. So I could, the start point could be that a space href equals that, but the problem with that, if we use that, it will also pick up, well, it pick up every instance of ahref. So it would pick up this one here, which we don't want. It would pick up this one here. So it'd pick up all of these basically at the top here. Whereas if we do the TD, let's just copy that and find that. There we go. So you can see, if we look for that, all it's going to find is trailers, Python coding, and parent directory. Now that's fine, because we can also in our code tell it to skip certain names. So we can tell it to skip parent directory, say we don't want that one. So that's all good. So that's our start point, because what we actually want is the the link, so you can see there we've got a link, we can see trailers, we've got a link, and we want the name after it, so that there would be the separator. Yeah, so we'd end up with a link and we'd end up with the name that's after it, and obviously that was our end point just there. And going into, let me just close that a minute. So the Python coding directory is just a list of links. They're links that have been uploaded, and then what I've done, so we can view that page source. Yep, it's basically the same as the last one. The structure is exactly the same. So all I've done was I copied that structure. For this example, I copied that structure and I created a new folder on my server called trailers, and I created a index.html file, just a plain text file, and I pasted the contents of that other page on here, and all I've done was just change the title, and I put links. So these aren't actually on the server, these are links to a YouTube page. So you can look here, if I click on that, there you go, it loads up YouTube, and it's not even a direct link to the actual video, it's a link to the YouTube page that has the video, but Kodi would need to resolve that via URL resolver. But luckily the code does all that for us, so it's quite clever like that. If you want to look at this page source, just to double check what we've done, like I say, just copied and pasted from that index page that was also created by uploading stuff to the server. I've just changed the title, this bit here I've changed, and then yeah, I just deleted the rows I didn't want and kept the ones I did. So you know, I've put a link to Vimeo, put a link to YouTube, and put a title, a nice clean title in there that we want to use. I just use the same format. So that's the important thing. It doesn't matter what format you go for, you can have it all nicely coded up with CSS and everything, but it must remain the same all the way through. So let's check out our code then again. Let's have another look at that. So so we've got the URL. That loads that up, then it finds every instance of the start point to the end point, and then it splits them up at the separator. And you can see that we've got skip. We're telling it to skip the 2 dots, the dot, and anything called parent directory. Now by default it uses those anyway, so you don't need to put skip in. But if there was some in there that you didn't want, just add them. So for example, if we was on let's go back, let's go to Python coding, let's say we didn't want archive tree.mov. What we would do, quite simple, we would do archive tree.mov, and we'll save that. Oh sorry, I need to also put it in here, so skip equals, oops, I've got 2 lots of skip equals there, that's not going to work. Right, skip equals skip. Do you know what? I don't like using the same variable parameter name, so let's just rename that to skp. So skip equals skip. Yep. Save that. Let's go into Kodi, and fingers crossed, if we click, we've got our populate list option there, and through that one line of code, well, okay, it's a bit more than that, but we could have done it in one line of code if we didn't set up the variables on separate lines. If we just put them through in the actual function itself, it could be one line. We've got a Python code in, and you can see that archive tree isn't there. That's no longer there. So we can, we can click on one of these, and it should start playing. Right, stop that. Come out. We can go to the trailers, and what the code does here, if it picks up something that it doesn't recognize as a playable link, well, I'll show you what happens. So these are playable links, but it doesn't know that they're a playable link or they're a directory without some special code. So what you do is you click on it, and then it will give you a link, and it will try and resolve that. So, you know, it could be from any site. If URL Resolver supports it, then it will try and resolve that link. In this case, it's YouTube, so let's see if it resolves it. There we go, looks good. So that's done that. Let's go back, and we had one from Vimeo. Let's click on that. Click on that to resolve it. I hope that made some sort of sense, and thanks for watching.